This is the Election Bureau. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Citi Prime News. The news is live from our studios at number 5 Owula Hansel Lane at Tesano in Accra. My name is Adjuatin Kramadom. Now, coming up this afternoon, President-elect John Mahama arrives at Jubilee House as transition processes begin ahead of January 7.
It was important that I have this meeting with him and members of his delegation for two things. First of all, obviously, congratulate him on his remarkable victory, to wish him and his administration the very best of luck.
We had a very cordial meeting. At the time he called, he suggested 11 a.m. this morning to have the preliminary meeting towards setting up the transitional team, and that meeting has just ended. It was very cordial.
Also coming up, Ghana Police Service deploys additional personnel to tackle post-election violence as calls intensify for President Akufo-Addo's intervention.
Those instruments of power are firmly in the hands of the present government. President, the Minister for National Security, the Defense Minister, the Interior Minister.
Still in the bulletin, a Futu constituency vice chair of the National Democratic Congress allegedly missing following attacks on him by unknown individuals.
I received a call from one of my ward coalition officers that his life was in danger and that I should come and rescue him. So I got the news under an apprehensive situation, so I had to just gather myself and then move out.
And later in the bulletin, Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies risks temporal closure over acts of vandalism as the local government service fears for safety of its staff. We have details of this and more stories coming your way in 30 minutes. Remember, the news is live across the globe on citinewsroom.com, on Facebook and on YouTube. Find us on Citi 97.3 FM. Across the country, we are also live on a number of affiliate stations. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A very warm welcome to you to the bulletin. Let's begin from the Jubilee House. And President Akufo-Addo has assured of a smooth transition following a meeting with President-elect John Dramani Mahama at the Jubilee House to initiate a handover process. Now, speaking to journalists, both leaders pledged to uphold peace and stability in the country as the transition progresses. Let's first hear from President Akufo-Addo.
The Transition Act, Presidential Transition Act, requires that within 24 hours, a joint transition team should be established to begin the process of a smooth and seamless transfer of authority. And it's on that basis that I invited His Excellency to come here for us to meet and kickstart the whole process. We shall be having a meeting this afternoon where the transition team, the joint transition team, will be formally inaugurated. But it was important that I have this meeting with him and members of his delegation for two things. First of all, obviously, to congratulate him on his remarkable victory, and to wish him and his administration the very best of luck. We have, for the first time in our life, a female vice president of the country, and that is a matter that should be celebrated by all of us. And then secondly, to assure him of my full support and that of my government over the transitional process and afterwards, to make sure that his administration takes off in the best of conditions. It is in the interest of all of us as Ghanaians that should happen. And that is the reason why I brought him here. He's familiar with this place. He was here before I came, and he's back here again. So he knows exactly what is entailed. But this is the reason why, and I'm happy that he found it easy within this very charged program that he has to come so readily and quickly to visit with me and members of my team to begin this process. All of it is in order to make sure that our nation, Ghana, continues to march forward as a functioning, effective, democratic state which respects the will of the people, which respects human rights and the rule of law, and where we are all secure in our daily life.
You heard President Akufo-Addo there. We can now hear from the President-elect John Dramani Mahama also speaking during that meeting at the Jubilee House.
As I said when I spoke after the declaration of results, I mentioned that His Excellency the President had given me a call to congratulate me. And so I had the opportunity to thank him this morning for being that gracious to give me that call. We had a very cordial meeting. At the time he called, he suggested 11 a.m. this morning to have the preliminary meeting towards setting up the transitional team. And that meeting has just ended. It was very cordial. And I think we were very happy to be together. Mr. President has given me a brief on the security situation, both internal and external, and also a short brief on issues to do with the economy. Of course, the transitional teams will drill down further into these matters, but I am happy at the assurance he's giving us that we're going to work together in the interest of Ghana to ensure a seamless transition. And I believe that even after that transition, it will be necessary for us to continue to keep a channel of communication so that Ghana's democratic credentials are consolidated and we all work together in the national interest. And so I want to thank him for his time and to assure him that on our side we are very happy to work together, and we'll look forward to the successful work of the joint transitional team. I thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. There will be no question.
So that's the President-elect John Dramani Mahama speaking in that interview. We have been joined by Samuel Yafe. He's our presidential correspondent for more on the summit. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We do know that the two teams, that's the current government and the incoming, have both put together a transition team. Did you cite any of the members of these teams in the meeting?
Definitely, Ajua. On the side of President Mahama, the co-chair of the transition, Mr. Julius Deba, was part of the delegation that came with him to the Jubilee House. The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Keita, who is also a member of the transition team, was also present at this meeting, as well as Madam Dr. Valerie Sawyer, who happens to be a member of the transition team, also being a part of this particular meeting when the president held it with the President-elect John Dramani Mahama. On the side of government, the chief of staff, who is also a co-chair of the transition team, was also present at this particular meeting. So she was the only person on the side of government. The rest, we are told, were on their way, but unfortunately they couldn't, come in the meeting. But then at 4 p.m. today, the transition team will be officially inaugurated by both President Akufo-Addo and President-elect John Dramani Mahama. The meeting was a very cordial one. You could see the chemistry among the two leaders. John Dramani Mahama came with the Vice President-elect, Professor Jenana Opoku, who was also present at this meeting. And so it was a cordial meeting. The President briefed the incoming President of the security situation in the country, both internally and externally, on the state of the Ghanaian economy as well, on some and then on recent, takeover of public institutions by some individuals perceived to be supporters of the NDC, where the President asked Mr. Mahama, to call the supporters to order, and so they had exchanges and briefings in respect of this particular incident and what needs to be done to maintain the peace and stability of this country. So it was generally a very cordial meeting. At 4 p.m. when the transition team is inaugurated, the meetings between these two parties will let Ghanaians know the true state of the affairs of this country. And moving on, the president is hopeful that this will be a very smooth and seamless transition to forestall, more or less, to maintain the peace and stability of this country.
Now, Sammy, from here, where do we go to in terms of the transition process? How is it going to look like until January 7?
Okay, so the side of government and the side of the president-elect, which is John Dramani Mahama, will compare notes. So the government side, which is led by the chief of staff, which has the Minister of Interior, which has the Minister of Defense, which has the Minister of Local Government, and which also has, the head of civil service and the rest. So the Minister of Interior, who is in charge of internal security, is expected to give a briefing on the state of the country's internal security to the transition team of the President-elect John Dramani Mahama. Then the Minister of Defense, Dominic Nito, is also expected to give also a briefing on the state of the Ghana's armed forces to the transition team. The local government minister is also expected to give a briefing note on the state of the local governance of this country. The head of civil service is also expected to do same. And so these leaders of the various transition are supposed to hand over more or less handing over notes and the true state of the institutions in which they handle, which more or less form or constitute the government in general. So we are talking about, the Ministry of Interior, which entails the country's internal security. We are talking about the Defense Ministry, which deals with the Ghana Armed Forces. We are talking about the local governance structure, which deals with the MMDs, the assemblies, and the rest, and other matters as far as the general, running of the country is concerned. So based on these briefings and these notes, that will be given to the incoming administration or the transition side of this administration. That is when they will know the true state of the Ghanaian state, more or less, the true state of the Ghanaian state, and what this administration is leaving behind for the next administration led by John Dramani Mahama.
Very well, thank you so much. That's Samuel for your presidential correspondent, bringing us up to speed with all that's happening at the Jubilee House in terms of the transition of power. Let's move on now. The office of the head of the local government service, has urged regional ministers to enhance monitoring of security in their regions following widespread attacks on state institutions by unidentified individuals. Now, the service has warned that local government offices may temporarily close with staff working remotely should there be any immediate threats to lives. The advisory was outlined in a letter signed by the head of the service, Dr. Nana Ato Arthur. Here are excerpts of the letter read by my colleague Akusia Ochre.
Given the threats and incidents of violence by unknown assailants, the safety of our staff must be our highest priority. We must act swiftly to mitigate any potential risk and ensure their well-being. In this regard, I urge you all to closely monitor the situation in your respective regions, and if there is any indication that lives and properties are at risk, you should temporarily close the offices and allow all staff members to work remotely until the situation stabilizes. This precautionary measure is intended to safeguard our staff from potential harm and provide them with peace of mind during the unsettling period. Urge you to maintain close communication with your MMDAs to receive updates on any developments and advise them to keep regular contact with law enforcement agencies to provide the needed security support to protect the offices when necessary.
You heard the statement from the Office of the Head of Local Government Service to all regional ministers on the widespread attacks on state institutions carried out by unknown individuals, read to you by Kennedy Chumesi. Let's stay on this subject because the Ghana Police Service has intensified its presence by deploying additional personnel to address the surge in post-election violence. My colleague Charles Owusukumi joins me from the police headquarters with details. Charles, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. And now, have the police station these additional personnel at specific installations?
Well, they won't say where exactly they are deploying them to. They say that's part of their security strategy. They won't even tell us how many people they are deploying. But I've seen quite a number of police officers, some on motorbikes, some in vehicles, some even in plain clothes that have just been deployed out of the police headquarters this morning to various stations. The police say that they are in charge of the security situations. They have been criticized for, some people have said that they have not been proactive enough. They could have anticipated that these things were going to happen. But they say that no, they are on the ground, they have their eyes and ears across the country, and they know exactly what is happening. But because of the strategy they have adopted for these elections, which is a de-escalation strategy, it is the reason that the people have not seen them use force in quelling some of these unrest. But they have assured that they have enough men in and around the country, and they are on top of the issue. Now, this is also happening across the other regions. It's not just happening here in Accra. So all the other 15 regions are also equally deploying additional security officials to town, to vantage areas, to enhance police visibility. They believe that once there are enough police officers around, some of these unscrupulous persons may be deterred from engaging in this looting and vandalism that has gone on across the country. Now, the police hierarchy, they've been a bit busy this morning. They've had some meetings with civil society groups. Just before I left the press center, they were engaging the CDD, IDEG, and other civil society groups who had called upon the police to ascertain why they have also not seen them use force in preventing some of these vandalism across the country. So they had a meeting with the police this morning. Also here are members of the clergy. I've seen Bishop Gordon Kise of the Charismatic Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, who have also called on the police service. So all these engagements are ongoing with the police hierarchy and members of the National Election Security Task Force, and they continue to assure them that they are in charge of the security situation here in the country.
Very well, thank you very much. That's Charles Owosukumi reporting to us from the police headquarters. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, security analyst Professor Kwesi Enin calls on President Akufo-Addo to add his voice to ongoing vandalism across the country to stop what is happening ahead of the transition of government. We have details of this and other stories coming up shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Channel 1 TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on Channel 363. On GoTV, we're on Channel 117. And on HD+, get us on Channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search. But take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Channel 1 TV. Channel 1 TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box, like the DSTV and HD Plus boxes. Channel 1 TV, telling your story, empowering change.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back to the bulletin. Thank you for staying with us. Let's stay on some election-related stories. And the director of the Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Professor Kwesi Enin, has called on President Akufo-Addo to address the escalating vandalism across the country. Several state-owned institutions, including Metro Mass Transit, Ghana Gas, the Forestry Commission, and the Passport Office, have been targeted. Now, groups such as the Ghana Journalists Association and the Catholic Bishops' Conference have also called for presidential intervention. Speaking to Citi News, Professor Enin stressed the need for robust measures to counter attacks on state institutions and restore order.
This is not President-elect Mohammed's responsibility to solve this problem because he does not hold the instruments of power. Those instruments of power are firmly in the hands of the president. President, the Minister of Financial, Security, the Defense Minister, the Interior Minister. So I'm happy at least that there is collaboration between the police and the Ghana Armed Forces. So the Ghana Armed Forces has issued a robust statement that if you attack them, they will respond with lethal force. But let me explain something for the next 10 seconds. If you strike a blow against the state, its institutions and the citizens, you will be resisted and lethal force will be used. Because the sanctity of the state and its capacity to continue to act is key. So those who need to act must act, because it's important to hand over a functional, stable, responsive set of institutions to the new government on the 7th of January.
That's the director of the Faculty of Academic Affairs and Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Professor Kwesi Enin. Now, the Wenchi Municipal Police Commander DSP Nana Boachi Yadom is recovering at the Bono Regional Teaching Hospital in Sunyai after an attack by unidentified youth in the Wenchi municipality. The incident followed the arrest of his wife, a suspect in case under investigation in Tohaba, a suburb of Wenchi. Now, in retaliation, the youth reportedly vandalized the police commander's vehicle, smashed a television set, broke into police cells and freed 8 inmates. Calm, we understand, has since been restored to Wenchi, but no arrests have been made so far. The Bono Regional Police Command has refrained from commenting on the matter. We'll move on now, still on some election-related stories now, and the parliamentary candidate for the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, in the Nsawam Adreji constituency, Frank Anodompre, has denied accusations of involvement in a shooting incident at the Nsawam Adreji Collation Center. The Eastern Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress accused him of shooting observer Richard Tabo during a disruption at the center. Now, speaking at the NPP office in Nsawam, Mr. Anodompre refuted the claims and urged the police to conduct a thorough investigation into the incident. Well, Frank Anodompre has also been calling for the suspension of the transition process until the Electoral Commission announces all unresolved parliamentary results. Speaking at that press briefing, he described the NDC's alleged irresponsibility and called for a secure platform to enable the Electoral Commission declare outstanding results without any interference.
The narrative from the EC is that we need a security platform to pronounce on the results and to declare the due winners of various constituencies, i.e. Nsawam Adreji, Akwetia, Suhum, and then of course Fantiapano. Let me appeal to the outgoing president, His Excellency Nana Addo-Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We know he has set in motion a transition process. As a matter of course, we want to appeal to the president. And mind you, he's still the president. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So the transition process should be halted. His Excellency Nana Addo-Dankwa Akufo-Addo should halt the transition process. And John Dramani Mahama, President-elect, must show same equity, must speak to his people, and we must ensure that all the other outstanding seats are declared duly by the EC before the transition process goes on.
So that's a member of parliament for Nsawam Adreji constituency, Frank Anodompre. Away from that, the constituency vice chairman of the National Democratic Congress in Efutu, Abraham Ato Addo Annan, has reportedly gone missing following an attack by unidentified individuals. According to our sources, the vice chairman and other individuals from the National Democratic Congress were assaulted on December 7 while monitoring the elections. Now, the same attackers allegedly targeted him again at the health facility where he sought treatment, forcing him to flee. Now, the Efutu NDC constituency secretary has reported that Mr. Annan has not been seen since the incident and his phone lines are unreachable. The party is thus urging the police to act swiftly to investigate the matter.
I saw this MPP tax pursuing my constituency chairman. By then, he had also come to the scene to have the matter resolved. They were just attacking him, like they were so furious, and all indications points to the fact that this has been their norm. That's how they have been acting without recourse to the law. They take the law into their own hands because they feel like whatever they do there's a bigger force behind them that pushes them to do whatever they want to do. So later, the military man had to use all the necessary force to bring the situation to a halt. Until my chairman was brought to me, including some other pulling agents and what have you. So I had to just rescue them and then put them in the van and then just switch them away. So it was in the process that I was fully informed that the constituency vice chairman was in the car when that incident happened, and the boys had pounced on him and had severely beaten him. So a witness at the scene gave me a vivid narration of the incident and even included some videos to ascertain the truth that these were the guys who did it. And if I give the videos to you, I think the videos will speak for themselves. You will tell you who committed those crimes. So what we have done as a party is to just report the matter to the police, and we are looking up to the police expediting actions on this because there has been a series of events that never warranted even arrest, much more a court a possession.
You had the NDC Efutu Constituency Secretary Abraham Henry Arthur. Away from that, now finance lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, is asking for measured expectations from the incoming National Democratic Congress, the NDC administration, which will take office on January 7, 2025. Now, following John Mahama's decisive victory in the 2024 elections, Professor Mensah emphasized the need for the new government to focus on fiscal discipline in order to sustain the macroeconomic gains achieved under the previous government. He shared his insights in a post-election analysis with Citi News.
I saw on social media somebody saying that, okay, now soap price should go to 1 cedi. What we need to appreciate is prices, are quick to go up, but, bringing it down, sometimes it becomes quite sticky and, difficult. It would take conscious economic policies, and that is what government shouldn't work. But then the expectations, it shouldn't be immediate. We should look at one way or the other, possibly going with the IMF program, which, the momentum has already been set. And then sitting the IMF program, how we can continue to be financially disciplined publicly. And that should be able to help us, So even if prices are not going to go down and then it becomes stable over time, it helps in planning. And then also possibly the exchange rate. That fits into all other things that we do in the country. If it becomes stable and it does not go down, it will really help in planning.
You heard Professor Lord Mensah. He's a finance lecturer with the University of Ghana Business School. Now, a fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osai Kwapon, has described calls for the resignation of Electoral Commission Chair Jean Mensah as unwarranted. His remarks is in response to criticisms from Joyce Bawah-Mutari, Special Aide to President-elect John Dramani Mahama, who expressed dissatisfaction with the Electoral Commission's management of the recent elections. Speaking on Face-to-Face on Channel 1 TV, Joyce Bawah argued that the electoral process fell short of standards, undermining public confidence, and called for Jean Mensah's resignation to restore credibility of the institution. However, Dr. Osai Kwapon disagreed, stressing that such calls are premature.
I sincerely believe that the call on the Electoral Commissioner, the chair of the Electoral Commission, to resign, with all due respect, is a misplaced call. The NDC long held this belief that the EC was impartial, the EC was biased, and in my opinion, they felt that the EC was out to get them. So that for me is the context within which I see this call for resignation coming. But there is also a reason why these independent constitutional bodies are insulated from political turnover, right? It is to ensure a certain sense of continuity. It is also to ensure that that independence to do their work is always guaranteed and not subject to the whims and caprices of our partisan politics.
You heard there a fellow at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osai Kwapon. And now the countdown is on for the biggest end-of-year party, the Situation All-White Christmas Party 2024. And it promises to be the most dazzling event of the holiday season. The Situation All-White Christmas Party, organized by Channel 1 TV in collaboration with Citi 97.3 FM, is taking place on December 24, 2024 at the vibrant Underbridge in East Legon. The much anticipated party promises a night of glitz, glamour, and unforgettable entertainment. Top Ghanaian artists billed for the night include Keche, Bisakade, Adani Best, Inchinchimban, and MOG Music. Here's the head of events and partnerships at Channel 1 TV and Citi FM, Frima Edunyame, making the announcement on Channel 1 TV's Breakfast Daily Show.
In as much as it is a party, not a musical concert, we still let maybe a couple of musicians pass
come through
to just add some spice to it. But it's not really about the musicians. We have, just to give you an idea of the musical cocktail that we are also preparing. So the cocktail is not just going to be the alcohol and the non-alcoholic stuff you're going to take, but with the music we are bringing the oldies, we are bringing the current people, the young people. I mean, a mixture of everything. Those who love their groups, those who love their DJ, those who love their live band, a bit of everything to satisfy everybody. So we have Adani Best coming as well. I don't know the last time you saw Adani Best come in, So Adani Best is coming.
One logo line.
Yeah, the only people who can tell all of us, the whole people at the party, to form a queue and form a logo line and be dancing. So Kecha is coming as well. And then we also have Bisakade coming as well. Mansa Miko Mako exactly. So Bisa is coming as well. And then the person to help us do the naming ceremony at church, we have MOG.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay.
So last year it was Paris Music. This year we have MOG coming.
So that's the head of events and partnerships as Channel 1 TV and Citi FM, Frima Edunyame. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of the Citi Prime News, which came to you live from our studio in Tesano, Accra. For more stories, please log on to citynewsroom.com. My name is Ajwatin Kramadamna. Thank you for your company. Good afternoon.